So it is New Year's Day, and Bernie Sanders is on the Senate floor fighting for $2,000 checks for the working class. He is putting it on the line for the people that need the most help. And I want to play you a few clips from his speech earlier today because it underlines not only how much he cares about regular people, but also how good he is at his job. And then we're going to come back, break it down a little bit, and talk about where we go from here.
So what we are doing today is very simple. And that is Senator Thune and Senator McConnell and others have raised objection to the House-passed bill. And in the United States Senate, when we have differences of opinion, what we should be doing is debating that bill. So all that Senator Schumer is asking, all that I am asking is a simple request. Bring the bill to the floor. Not even asking you to vote for it. Bring the bill to the floor. And on top of everything else, we need 60 votes to pass. 60 votes. Can we get 60 votes? I don't know. I think virtually all of the 48 Democrats will vote for it. It means, Senator Thune, that we need 12 Republicans. I gather we got one right here who indicated he would vote for it. 5 or 6 others have been public about saying they will vote for it. Will we get the rest? I don't know. You don't know. But what is the problem with giving members of the United States Senate the opportunity to vote on the legislation? And when we have that debate, you can come up and you can raise all of your objections and we can debate it. But while we are on the subject of socialism for the rich, which my Republican friends have suddenly become very concerned about, let me talk about the Trump tax proposal that was pushed very hard by Senator McConnell and the Republican leadership, and where I think every Republican voted for it. You want to talk about socialism for the rich? It is not the bill that puts $2,000 into working class hands all over this country. That ain't socialism for the rich. This is socialism for the rich in that bill. Amazon, oh, by the way, I must say this if I may, we were quoting the liberal Washington Post owned by Jeff Bezos, the wealthiest guy in the world. So here is Jeff Bezos' company, Amazon, and they received a tax rebate. They paid nothing in 2018 in federal taxes. That's a corrupt tax system to begin with. But then on top of that, they received $129 million as a tax rebate. That, Senator Thune, is what socialism for the rich. In fact, this particular company is owned by the richest guy in the world. You gave him a $129 million rebate. But it's not just Amazon. Delta Airlines also paid nothing in federal taxes in 2018, and yet they received a $187 million rebate from that particular bill. Chevron, helping to destroy our planet with their carbon emissions, $181 million in a rebate. That, my friends, is what socialism for the rich is about. You're talking about trying to say, oh my God, all of this money is going to the rich. That ain't really true. But I would also ask, my friend, where did you suddenly become a religious adherent about concern of socialism for the rich when you gave 83% of the benefits to the rich and large corporations in the tax bill that you supported? Where was your concern about socialism for the rich when Amazon, owned by the richest guy in the world, got a $129 million tax rebate? I didn't hear much about socialism for the rich during that debate.
And so what you saw there was Bernie merge the procedural and the ideological and the political all really, really effectively, because he's right that, you don't have to vote yes on this bill. You don't have to vote no. You should vote yes. You should support $2,000 checks for the working class, but the Senate should vote. they should make it known where they stand. This is a bill that has massive support in the House, nearly 50 Republicans in addition to basically every Democrat. Donald Trump himself supports it. 2 of the 3 branches support it. So the Senate should let its opinion be known loud and clear. Even if they ultimately reject it, they should let their views be known. Do they support $2,000 for the working class, or do they support the working class suffering? Let it be known loud and clear. Bernie also makes a great point saying, look, many of the people in this hall, not exclusively Republicans, but largely Republicans, actually have no problem with large-scale giveaways, from the federal government. They don't have a problem with it. They just really seem to care when that money goes to poor and working and middle-class people, and they especially care when money goes to regular people and it's not dwarfed by money going to big corporations at the same time. Bernie notes here to Senator Thune and to many others in the hall and to Republicans all over that, look, you've given billions, hundreds of millions and billions to companies like Amazon and Chevron and the airlines and all these sorts of big businesses before this crisis and during it, and they're going to continue to give them money. And even during the first stimulus bill, when there was, that one-time $1,200 check, totally insufficient, but it was vital for a lot of people surviving. The only reason that happened is because the Republicans got even more money on the back end, trillions to give to their rich cronies all over the country. And so when a one-time, very simple $2,000 to regular working class people bill comes on the floor, where there's no corporate pork attached to it really, Republicans can only say at that point that, it's we can't afford it, or this is not targeted well enough, or blah, 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 blah. Because the truth is, they know the question is simple. For the working class starving, or against the working class starving. And they don't want to have to vote because their vote will expose their evil. And that's what's happening here. That's 100% what's happening here. Now, look, there's a couple Republicans that hinted they might vote for it. Perdue and Loeffler said they might, although I think they're being disingenuous because they know that, they're facing a close Senate race in Georgia. Josh Hawley has said he would support it. I tend to believe him a little bit more. His claims about the election are awful, but he was standing with Bernie weeks ago when few others were, so I actually believe he might support it. But the point is less whether this would pass or not, because I think Bernie is right in noting that getting to 60 votes is likely a hard question to ask, because even if you do get all 48 Democrats, and Dick Durbin and a couple other ghouls I bet would vote against it, even if you get all 48, you still need 12 Republicans, and that's a lot to ask for. But Bernie is making this fight. Now again, I'm not letting the Democrats off the hook here. I made a video on this yesterday where the Democrats basically betrayed Bernie and a few of the other progressives like Ed Markey and some other folks by saying they would move right to the defense spending bill without an agreement to hold a vote on the $2,000 checks. And so what that means is the Democrats, the vast majority of Senate Democrats, gave up their leverage on this question. And just as I'm recording this, they have officially voted to move to the vote on the veto override on the defense spending bill, 80 to 12, or, a very, very large margin voted to just go to the vote. And I assume that will pass. I'll put an update in the description, but I'm recording live as they're taking that vote. But what you're seeing here is just how alone Bernie and a couple other senators are. And it really does highlight that while he speaks for 80% of the country, basically, maybe more, frankly, and a majority of Republicans even on this issue, $2,000 checks for the working class, it seems like everything's against him. Even Democrats that support it, they knowingly gave up their leverage here. They knowingly gave it up. The one leverage piece they had was no military vote unless it's accompanied by the check vote. Like, simple as that. And also, you had Democrats like Dick Durbin undercutting it. You even had, quote unquote, liberal progressive Democratic sources, I don't believe they are, like the Washington Post say, oh, $2,000 is too much. $600 is fine. $2,000 is too much. So whether it's the Democratic media or the Democratic Party or the Republican media or the Republican Party, they all seem united against $2,000 checks when the working class, regardless of race or gender or ideology or geography, are united with Bernie and a few others on this issue. Just because the public supports something doesn't mean Washington and the corporate elite do. That's something we all know, but we're really getting a lesson in that today. I don't know what's going to happen here. Bernie, I bet, will push this every inch he can. At some point, I assume he'll run out of procedural abilities to bring this up. One hope, and I'm skeptical, is that if the Democrats do find a way to win those two Georgia Senate runoffs, they might have enough votes to get $2,000 done, because that'll make the Senate 50-50, and they might be able to get a couple senators after, like Hawley, to vote, although I am skeptical there too. I don't know if this is going to happen. Bernie Sanders has given it his all, but with everyone against him, even this heroic effort might not be enough. But people need to remember that people like Bernie, when the chips were down, really took it all for the working class to get them their $2,000. Even if they fail, the effort does matter.